let's get into the drama from last night. Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron James. After the game, Stephen A. Smith was sitting courtside. See how Larry David, LeBron comes up to him, does not look very happy, does not have a very friendly look in his face. And LeBron, you can read his lips. He's saying, keep my effing son's name and don't make this about my son and things like that. And Stephen A. Smith just stood there, listened to what he had to say. And LeBron, he wasn't covering his mouth. He knew what he was doing. He wanted this to go viral. I think that LeBron knew that this was going to create a little bit of a social media storm. And this morning on First Take, Stephen A. Smith, he discussed the matter and addressed it, and feels like Stephen A. Smith's kind of trying to play the victim card here.
Really took exception to some of the things that he heard me say, and he confronted me about it. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. Had he wanted to see me, I would have flown out and I would have seen him and I would have had a conversation man to man. But that is not what he elected to do. Instead, he elected to confront me while I was sitting courtside. Ari Emanuel, the head of William Morris Endeavor, one of the agencies that represents me, along with Larry David, was sitting courtside. I was with them for the game. And he walked right up to me and he said what he had to say. And apparently he feels like.
So you heard what he said there. Keep my son out of this, bro, right? He doesn't want anything to do with that. He does not like the things that he's been saying in the recent months about his son, Bronny James. A lot has been made about LeBron and the Lakers drafting him with the 55th pick. But the truth of the matter is, that's a father that's protecting his son. And is it rational? Probably not. Is LeBron overreacting? Maybe a little bit. I mean, Bronny's a big boy. Bronny's an adult. He's in the NBA. He doesn't need his dad going over there and doing it for him. But look, if you have kids, if you're a parent, you probably understand. Don't talk about my kid like that. Don't talk about me like that as a parent. No one likes their parenting ever put in question. And just kind of digging up what it was that really pissed off LeBron, it had to have been this.
I'm really, really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James. One of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of basketball, number 2 in my eyes. A treasure to the game of basketball that we should and will all miss when he is gone. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. The first game of the season, opening night, the Griffies in attendance, father-son duo playing in an NBA game for the first time, an absolutely positively wonderful story. And then reality sets in. We love what we're seeing from him in the G League because that's where you belong. As you hone your skills and you get better and you legitimately earn, which I believe he has the potential to do. I am rooting for Bronny James. It would be cruel to root against him. He's a wonderful kid. I wish him nothing but the best. But he's LeBron James' son. And everybody knows what attention that brings. Molly, Doggy, put them up on the screen because I want to see their face when I say this. Right now, Bronny James is averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. You know what people are saying. You know what they're going to do to this kid. In 13 games, He has played 44 minutes. He has scored 4 points. He is shooting 1 of 16 from the field, 0 for 7 from three-point range. How are you doing him favors? We know that he's not ready yet. And I'm saying this with compassion. I'm asking the greatest player in the game, one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball, an ambassador for this game, the face of the league, a 4-time champion, a guy that's gone to 10 NBA finals, one of the greatest we have ever or will ever see, who is a basketball savant. You know, better than me, better than Doggy, better than JJ Redick, better than Rob Pelinka, better than any basketball analysis or analyst that exists. You know what these numbers mean. You know what it's going to do to your son, to people who are missing out on opportunities, that are busting their tail on other NBA teams in the G League, in Europe, and everywhere else, what kind of opportunity they're starving for. You're exposing your son like this?
So essentially, Stephen A. Smith is saying that after that initial moment when Bronny James debuted and you had LeBron realize his dream of being on the court with his son, that's it, that he should just stay in the G League where he's averaging over 21 points and he's played 18 games, averaging 1.4 points per game. He is a little bit like a victory cigar for the Lakers. I've said it on this show. The "We Won Tacos" chant has been replaced with the "We Won Bronny" chant. And when you hear that, you know that the Lakers are winning the game and that it's in the refrigerator, as the great Chick Hearn would say. But having said that, LeBron didn't like it. LeBron doesn't like that because it's kind of making his son look like this gimmick. And no one wants their son looking like a gimmick. No one wants to make it seem like he's this Nepo baby and things have been handing out to him. Is that the case? Sure. I mean, let's just be honest. Would Bronny James have been drafted by the Lakers if LeBron James wasn't a Laker? The answer is no. It's emphatically no. That doesn't mean that in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't the right move for the Lakers. I would do it every single time if it meant keeping my 40-year-old superstar, who's one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player to ever play the game in some people's eyes, happy. You do things like that. How many of your friends helped you get a job? How many of your family members helped you get a job? It happens. But I do think that Stephen A. Smith may have crossed the line. And look, at the end of the day, even if he didn't cross the line, hey, LeBron's like, I don't care. Just keep my son's name out of your mouth. Then here was another soundbite from Stephen A. Smith from his YouTube show talking about the matter.
And I felt the need to elaborate even further because a couple of people text me and pissed me off, and they know who they are. People close to LeBron James talking to me about questioning him as a father. Come on, y'all. I mean, it's got to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale. You call him the second best player in the history of the game, you're insulting him because you said he's not the GOAT. You're saying that at age 40, we've never seen anybody do what he does, but pointing out at times how he may not have hustled back on defense in a key pivotal moment, and that's a problem. You give him all the praise in the world when he drops 40, but he has a bad night, and you say he had a bad night, and you're hating. It's ridiculous. But never before has it been more ridiculous.
So this sounds to me like Stephen A. is a little more comfortable talking about the issue on his show, and all of a sudden he's getting brave again talking about LeBron when LeBron's not right in front of him. It reminds me of one of my favorite movies ever, Friday, with Chris Tucker and Debo, where Chris Tucker says, hey, when Debo's not around, when Debo's around, I'm quiet, but when he's not around, I be talking again. That sounds like what Stephen A. Smith is doing right there. He's comfortable talking about him when he's not in front of him, But when the matter comes and he's in front of him, then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and I apologize, this and that. So I'm a little disappointed. I think Stephen A. Smith should have stuck to his guns and doubled down. And I think both guys can just have their opinions. And look, guys can have uncomfortable conversations. But I will say, if I'm LeBron James, I think that the last couple of weeks, based on the things that we said, with his comments about Anthony Edwards, not want to be the face of the league, confronting Stephen A. Smith about what he said about Bronny James. Clearly, this is a matter where things are getting to LeBron, and it shouldn't be the case. LeBron should pay the media no mind. They're going to say what they're going to say. They are going to build you up to break you down. And if I'm LeBron, I think this kind of makes him look like on the sensitive side. And they know, hey, if we say things about LeBron, he's going to react. And that's kind of what we want. So I think that he's feeding into this now. And I think it's going to be a battle between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. And we'll see what this means for Bronny. If I'm Bronny too, I'm like, hey, Dad, let's be quiet. Like, I don't want people talking about me, because now this makes people have stronger opinions about Bronny James. I've said it before. You just don't. If I'm Bronny, I love that my dad is LeBron James, but there's a reason why he's Bronny James, right? And not LeBron James Jr. because of that pressure. And I think that this kind of further intensifies that, because the haters now are going to hate even more. But very interesting stuff, Noel. What did you think of what happened last night?
Yeah, no, I think it's unfortunate they got caught on camera, you know. And like you said, I didn't really think of it this way, but LeBron might have wanted it to happen this way, especially Stephen A. being courtside and him going out of his way in front of people to talk to him about it. But it just takes away from the game, you know. It just sucks when reporters and media members bring up family members and bring up anybody involved that is really close to superstars, because you know, it's so hard. Like, I think LeBron has done an amazing job over the years of keeping distance from the media, ignored Skip Bayless for so long, ignored Brian Windhorst for so long. But when you bring up your son, it's almost like, man, it's like the one thing that, you know, will probably get under him. And Stephen A., he's notorious for his takes. He's notorious for being animated, for, you know, saying what other people won't. And he's had a very interesting relationship with LeBron James over the years. So I think he got a little too comfortable talking about Bronny for sure. And, you know, he did acknowledge that he has been doing well in the G League and that one day he could be good enough to be on an NBA roster. But I just think LeBron, especially in Bronny's rookie year, he's going to be more protected than ever over his son.
100%. I think that is spot on right there, is that it got caught on camera. Yep. And then on top of that, look, I mean, for me, I think it's LeBron saying, you know what, F this. Like, I'm not going to be Mr. Nice Guy. I don't care how the media perceives me anymore. I kind of think that, I mean, we saw John Cena go heel a little bit. It feels almost like LeBron's gone heel a little bit too. I mean, I hadn't seen that look in LeBron's eyes since Game 6 in Boston. Yeah. Right? I mean, that famous meme with the Game 6 look right there. But like I said, if I'm Bronny James, I'm like, hey, I'm a grown-ass man, Pops. Like, you don't have to be defending me.
Yeah. Now, for him to leave the team huddle, excuse himself while they were all talking because he saw Stephen A., that says a lot.
And Stephen A. Smith, I mean, look at the video. He did stand his ground. I mean, he's shaking his head, kind of arguing back. So, I mean, like, if you look at what Stephen A. Smith has done in his career, he just signed that big bag to be back with ESPN. I mean, like you said, he says things that others don't want to say. But if someone disrespects your family, especially your son, you're gonna act out, and you're not gonna take to that very lightly. But hey, I'm surprised it wasn't. I thought it was gonna be another Chris Rock, Will Smith moment, right?
Keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
Keep my son's name out of your mouth. And Stephen A. Smith, hey, it's just a G.I. Jane joke, right? I mean, something like that. But we'll see what this means in the future between these two.